Something huge is brewing for Solana. My name is mikemadz. I'm currently sick, so I apologize my voice, but let's start this video. Before we start the video, as always, please do me a huge favor. Please like, comment below, check out my links in the description, and of course, subscribe. Before we get to the charts, let's check out some data points for Solana. Super important, Solana is the 4th largest network by active developers. Why is this important? Because of course you want developers to stay on the ecosystem and to keep developing, obviously, because at the end of the day, developers is what makes a blockchain at this current stage. Super interesting here to see that Solana is way ahead of Polygon and Cardano, and super surprising that Polkadot is actually placed number 2 here after Ethereum. Polkadot, currently not much hype around it, but there is development going on, so it's important to keep an eye on Polkadot, and I think Polkadot will actually do well here in the next bull run. No guarantees. For Solana, it's good to see this number. It's a healthy amount of active developers. And more importantly, one major scare was here that developers are going to switch to Sui or to Aptos here from Solana. That is clearly not the case, as this number is not changing much here to the downside or to the upside. So we have a stable number here. And this is super important currently at this times, because as you can see, and as you might notice yourself, the markets are basically dead. Super dull, not a lot of things are happening here, and even the price action is getting boring here. We are getting into the later stages here of this pre-halving year, and this is why it's super important to see active developers still being active here on the ecosystem. Next thing up here is an update on decentralization. Why? Because it's starting to get tiring here to hear that Solana is centralized, to hear that Solana is the FTX coin, and to hear that Solana is this and that. So a lot of misinformation still out there, but on the other hand, this creates a buying opportunity for people like you and me who know the facts and know the real value of Solana here. Okay, so update on the Nakamoto coefficient. One way to measure decentralization. Take this with a grain of salt, of course, because this is simply one way. First of all, let's cover what even the Nakamoto coefficient is. That helps measure the minimum number of validators or nodes that would need to agree to prevent the blockchain from operating correctly. So I'm a Solana bull, but I don't agree here that Solana is more decentralized than Ethereum. So take it with a grain of salt. But according to this coefficient, Solana is way ahead its competition. So if you hear people saying that Solana is not decentralized, Solana this and that, most of the time just simply uninformed. And keep in mind here, in this crypto space, people just like to repeat what they read. So they read something, they repeat it just to sound smart, and that's basically it. But again, at the end of the day, for you and me, this creates an interesting dynamic. Why? Because the blockchain sentiment is not where the real value of Solana is. So see it as an opportunity here, and as time passes by, decentralization on Solana will even get better and better. Right, super important Solana chart update. Why? Because last time I set up this DCA levels here, down here, because I was expecting Solana to retest some of those levels. Did my thesis change here? Because we had some green candles here and people are turning bullish again. Did my thesis change? Absolutely not, guys. There's no need to flip-flop your trade setups just because we have some green days. Okay, doesn't make sense, would not make sense, which doesn't mean I don't have invalidation levels. Of course, I have invalidation levels. If we close multiple weekly candles above 33, and more importantly, if we have multiple weekly candles above the $40 range, then of course it's time to rearrange my trade setup. But as of now, things have not changed. I'm still expecting one more scare here before the halving. Why? Because it's first of all typical for pre-halving years. Okay. Second of all, we have a recession here on the horizon, which can be priced in the next months. And most importantly, liquidity is simply not back. Once liquidity is back, altcoins will explode, guys. We will make a proper amount of money, but liquidity is drying up currently. Okay, look at the dollar here. The dollar is strengthening. There's simply no new liquidity in risk assets, especially in super risk assets here, I call them, in crypto. Okay, so let's wait for liquidity. Let's wait for the resolution of the recession, and then we can talk about higher numbers. As of now, it still presents a huge opportunity to have a cash position here just to reap the benefits if we retest some of those lows. If you zoom in here, of course, things are looking not too bad because we had a bounce of the bull market support band, and even more beautifully here on the weekly, you can see a beautiful retest of the bull market support band. So it's not looking too bad here in the short term. But if you zoom out here, things have a different narrative. We have lower highs and we are creating higher lows here. So Solana is being squeezed here into this triangle, and I think a big move is ahead here in the next couple of weeks and months to the upside or to the downside. We're prepared for both scenarios. Of course, we cannot go back in time, so we can only go up and down. My hunch is we are going to have one more scare here just to shake out the market. And those pumps here, the short-term pumps, are simply one way to grab liquidity out of the market and people taking profit here at higher levels. So don't get trapped. have your own strategy. If you follow my strategy, you'll have a decent cash position here waiting for one more scare. One thing I want to add here, of course, invalidation can be, first of all, just price action if we close above those levels, and second of all, the ETF approval. If the ETFs are going to be approved this year, of course, the whole narrative is going to change. It's most probably going to create a short-term massive pump to the upside, even for altcoins. So we are in a very interesting spot right now in crypto. So you have to be patient and always keep in mind, we are in the later stages here of this struggle cycle. So we are getting close to more optimistic views on the market. So stay in there, don't get shaken out, have some patience, have a strategy in place, and just relax. Of course, not financial advice, and things can play out differently. This is what I'm doing, so don't forget that. Okay? Of course, I can be wrong, but this is simply my strategy. At the end of the day, guys, am I still bullish on Solana? Yes, of course, guys. I have a fairly big position in Solana. I know it's not the most exciting thing to hear that your favorite blockchain is going to retest some of those lows. This is simply my take, and I wouldn't even speak about Solana if I don't expect Solana to rebound here and to see new highs here in the next year. So don't think I'm bearish on Solana overall. I'm just realistic about the price action, and this is simply the best way to go about it in my personal opinion. At the end of the day, guys, be bullish on yourself. As always, do your own research, super important. And the most important thing is, don't get wrecked.